with Purple Angel Oracle. Hope you all are doing well. Hope this past week hasn't been too rough for you. I got a new Oracle deck, and it's the Sacred Destiny Oracle by Denise Lynn. Yes, Denise Lynn. And I connected with the angelic realm and source today just to this what I typically do before I do a video is shuffle, and then I do this special shuffle where they just kind of fly out. And that's how I do it. And I connect with the angelic realm and source before I do this, of course. And so I got 5 cards, just to give some advice possibly on what many of us might be going through right now. It's not going to resonate with everyone. But if it helps one person, then I feel good about that. So the first one I got out was change. And then right after that was illumination. So I'm going to talk about those two together. Now, illumination, means bringing things into the light. Things, and I've talked about this in previous videos. I mean, that's the process that we're going through right now, is pulling out these deep-rooted, dark, not necessarily dark, right? They could be lower vibrational energies, just traumas, wounds. This is all being brought up right now. And as this gets brought up for us to take a look at, basically, that sparks a lot of change. So many of us might be going through major life changes right now because we're changing. Our vibration is changing. So things that are no longer resonating, we don't really even have a choice. It's just kind of being ripped from us, certain things in our lives. And it can be very upsetting. It's a very difficult process, change. Humans don't like change most of the time, when we've been so used to things. And that's what the entire planet's going through as well. Because, I also got a vision of pearls. I don't even know why. I was connecting with source and I just saw a string of pearls. And it made me think of us, right? Individually and collectively. So, how is a pearl formed? And I had to look it up. I mean, I kind of had a general idea, but it says natural pearls form when an irritant, usually a parasite and not the proverbial grain of sand, works its way into an oyster, mussel, or clam. As a defense mechanism, a fluid is used to coat the irritant. Layer upon layer of this coating, called nacre, I'm sorry if I'm not pronouncing it right, is deposited until a lustrous pearl is formed. Okay? So this goes hand in hand with many of us talk about the dark cabal, the dark ones, these people who have been controlling us, right? The dark beings. And do I believe there are people who have treated us like sheep, and there's been people in control that do not have our best interest in mind? Yes, I do. But I also look at that from a higher perspective. Those are just lower vibrational energies expressing themselves. Everything is a natural, perfectly formed thing. I mean, I don't know how else to explain it. God created it all, or it came from one point of creation, and everything serves a purpose. Okay? And I've talked about this many times before, how things are getting more intense in our outer reality. It seems like there's a lot of anger and pushing and resistance going on here. And it's because this lower vibrational energy is resisting the higher frequencies and the higher vibrational energy that's coming in. It's a natural response. It's pushing against it. Okay? And then going back to the pearls. So that's like us. Think about that. We are higher dimensional beings. Okay? And so this parasite works its way into the clam or whatever. And as a defense mechanism, this fluid is used to coat the irritant. And then it creates this beautiful pearl. So the parasite could be, if you want to look at it this way, these lower vibrational energies that we've had to deal with for many lifetimes, right? But it serves a very necessary purpose, because without it, the pearl would not form. So layer upon layer, we've been transmuting and just pummeling it, covering it with light, consuming it with light until it creates this masterpiece. And we've been doing that individually and collectively. So when I talk about change and illumination, that's what I mean, is everything's, we know this, it's being brought to the light. Everything has to come out so we can move forward and make this change to create this beautiful pearl, this new earth. There are so many analogies and metaphors with nature and us and what's going on right now. And that's no accident. I mean, it's amazing how perfect it was all synchronized for this to take place. And everyone serves their purpose that they came here for. They're a specific puzzle piece, right? So the people that are involved in the riots and doing bad, other bad things that we might not agree with. Not saying the right, they're standing up for what they believe in. Beautiful, okay? I'm saying just everyone is doing what they need to be doing. Because what they're doing is going to bring about some kind of change. Whether you agree with it or not. Everything that anyone's doing, even the so-called dark ones, they're aiding in this process. They're making it to where we get this force and power to change, in a sense. And that's a very hard thing to understand, because the injustices and the evil that's been done. How can we justify that? How can we say that it all serves a purpose? You got to think about it individually too. I mean, when you're young, you make mistakes, you hurt others, not intentionally even, but you hurt others and you learn from those mistakes. And then you got to think some of these people who do these horrific things are only doing what they've been taught. Like, I mean, what if their parents just raised them that way? They don't know any better. It's so hard to point fingers at anybody because we don't know their story. All I do in this situation, because I get angry, believe me, I want to riot and I want to stand up and see the end of this injustice. But I just pray. I visualize sending my light. And for those who feel pulled to physically do something and stand up for themselves, then that's their call. That's the call that they're taking, right? And that's beautiful. It's about listening to what you feel guided to do. Now, for me as a light worker, I feel like my mission is to visualize, transmute, and just send love, because that's all I know how to do. So, excuse me. Yeah, I just think it's important, obviously, right, to listen to yourself. And I say that so much. Go with your flow. Everyone is serving their purpose. They're fulfilling their call. And it's every single one of them is an important piece to this huge puzzle. And I hope no one thinks that I'm condoning any evil, bad behavior. Believe me, I struggle with that so much. Struggle with looking at that from a higher perspective and accepting that we all came from one source and that we all serve a purpose, because that's very hard to accept, because that's sick. Some of this stuff is so sick that you can't comprehend it. And all I can think of is it's time for it to go. Goodbye. Okay. We're done. We're done with it. We're consuming it. We're shifting our vibration. The earth is shifting. That's just that murky, lower vibrational, goopy energy that's been here so long. And we're finally moving away. We're clearing it. We're transmuting it and shifting. Sending it love, okay? And just saying goodbye, basically. Even though it's not really going anywhere, right? We're recycling it, clearing it, transmuting it. But it is changing, it's changing form. So we can say goodbye. That's when I get angry, that's what I focus on. It's time for you to go. I know you're trying to fight it. That lower vibrational energy, just stop fighting. You know you gotta go. So, moving on though. Next three, I got relaxation, release, and protection. So during this process, it's super important if you can. I know sometimes when we're going through this, we get tense, we get irritable, we have a hard time relaxing. Just surrendering it and do what makes your body feel comfortable, what makes you happy. Even if that's very human things, watching your favorite TV show, whatever. You're not doing anything wrong. You're going through this process of releasing so much dense, dormant, stubborn energy. The whole planet is. And you got to think that as empaths, we're feeling everyone's energy. We truly are. And dealing with our own. So as much as you can, the angels here are saying, relax. Okay, you're not doing anything wrong. It's okay to be human. It's okay to have fun. It's okay to disconnect. You're never disconnected, but that feeling of disconnecting from source, or you don't feel as like you're getting as many visions, or it's okay. You are still, you're always connected. You're so many different forms here. You're so many different vibrations right now and none of them are wrong. So just relax as much as you can and let this process happen naturally. Things are going to release. They're going to come up. They're going to change. And as much as you can, when they do come up, look at it from a higher perspective and say, oh, this is why this is happening. Okay. Be the alien or the angel watching over you. That's who you are. You're that. So look at yourself and be like, it's okay. We know what this is, right? Because the next one out was protection. Remembering you chose this for yourself. You're watching out for yourself. Your higher self is you, and it's watching over you. And so are your guides, your angels, whoever you feel connected with. They are there whenever you need them, whenever you choose to connect. They don't abandon you ever. And when you feel like they have, just know they're they know the process you're going through where you do feel abandoned, right? Is necessary. Everything is necessary and natural. And you're always being watched over. You're always protected. Even when bad things happen, if you can, like I said, look at it from a higher perspective, you'll see why it's happening. And that there truly is no death. And you are always protected. And you're doing exactly what you need to be doing. And, okay, I got one card from my Archangel deck, and it says you know what to do. Archangel Uriel, trust your inner knowledge and act upon it without delay. Exactly. As you're going through this, you might get moments of anxiety and your thoughts are racing and you're like, gosh, I'm really messing up here. I'm really not on the right path here, right? Getting confused, upset. If you quiet that down and even just ask whoever you connect with, whatever you feel like saying, just quiet your mind and connect with whatever makes you feel secure. And that's when that voice will come in. And it'll remind you that you're exactly where you need to be. It's about listening to that inner voice, that calming, beautiful, loving voice. That is your higher self. That is God. That is your angels and your guides. It's that loving, comforting voice. Even if you feel like you're talking to yourself, or you're comforting yourself, that's what it feels like sometimes. But that is your higher self. That is God. That loving, compassionate inner voice. And then I pulled one from my animal spirit deck, and it's the owl magic. Choose to know the truth because you can. Open your inner vision. You can see through deception. Let the past go and make room for a better life. Rise up. Magic and wisdom are your birthright. Exactly. I love when it says open your inner vision. Once again, actually, yeah, we have inner knowledge on the last one and inner vision here. You can see through deception. Okay. So there's many people who look at things and think they're being deceived, or, if you listen to that inner voice, you'll know what it is. You can see right through that deception. There is no deception. If you can rise above it, listen to that inner voice is going to tell you everything was perfectly planned for you. Everything had to happen the way it did for you to be right where you are. If everything wasn't exactly synchronized in my life, I wouldn't, I think about that a lot. I might not have my beautiful children. There's so many things that wouldn't have happened. I wouldn't be here sharing this with you if I didn't go through the pain, if I didn't go through the struggles, if I didn't take certain what was I just saying? If I didn't go certain directions in my life, right? It was all perfectly planned for me to be here and be doing what I'm doing, to have the life I have right now. So we forget that sometimes. We forget that we're protected and that we planned this for ourselves. Yeah, we can make decisions, but we were ultimately going to get to where we need to go, always. And if that's what I believe. And if you make a bad decision, right, and it takes longer to get where you're going, well, that was already planned for you too. You were supposed to make that decision, and it was supposed to take longer. That's how I feel like I don't, a lot of people can say, oh, well, people just believe that because it makes you feel better. Well, then, whatever makes you feel in a state of joy or provides you comfort, that's a higher vibration. Whatever is bringing you that, grab onto that. And I, a lot of my friends, who aren't necessarily into this ascension process, whatever, I try to give advice. I've had a lot of loss in my family, and a lot of my friends have, and they don't know how to cope with it, right? That's a very difficult thing to cope with. It truly is. And I've just always been this way. My imagination, I visualize myself with my brother or whoever I've lost. And I visualize us planning this whole thing out together, even just sitting at a table like, okay, this is what's going to happen here. And yeah, I might pass away, or I'm going to pass away. And whether someone wants to believe that's true or not, it brings me comfort. So I choose to do that. I choose to feel that, and I choose to believe that. Because I don't want to suffer. I don't want to be sad. And God's always guided me that way, to just choose to visualize something that brings me comfort. And it might sound absurd to somebody else, but I don't really care, because it comforts me. And it's so hard to explain that to some people, that whatever you imagine and you choose to visualize, you're there. It's true. It's real. It's real somewhere right next to you. And a lot of people don't understand that. They just don't, because I was just born that way. I've always done that. I've always chosen to take myself somewhere else that feels comfortable to get me through traumatic events. And I'm sure many of you light workers do that, because we've been through a lot of trauma, a lot of sadness, depression, addiction. That comes with the package most of the time. So we have found ways to cope, to get through these things. And those ways that we have, grabbed onto to cope are actually very spiritual and beautiful. We have figured out a way to go to different dimensions and use our imagination to travel all over the place and create other dimensions, create other, people call them fantasies, whatever. No, this stuff is real to me. I'm creating my heaven here. So it's all within us, right? Yeah. So, and that's, the owl, magic. Magic and wisdom are your birthright. Exactly. Magic is real. It's real. We create that. It's just where you choose to put your mind, right? Where you choose to put all this. And for many of us light workers, that's what we do. We visualize, we see colors, we see angels, we see, because many of us have very vivid imaginations and have since we were children, but there's a very important reason for that, because that's how we heal and we transmute and we create. It's such a beautiful process. Frustrating at times, but I mean, everything, like I said, everything I've gone through got me here. So here we are. I do hope this helped somebody. Just like many of you, I mean, a lot of us right now, we feel like we're like just, I don't know, teeter-tottering or teetering. What's the word? I don't know. We're just like, whoa, whoa, like back and forth, and you can hardly, find your footing. That's what it feels like. And there's times where I feel, like I, can't get an answer from source, or I can't connect, but I don't let that bother me. I know there's a reason for it, and I, like I said so many times before, I use humor for a lot of things, and my dad and I joke about things, like I got a vision of how I told you guys pearls. And it's like I just got a vision, and then I hear, in my head, there you go, analyze that, figure that one out. Dissect that one and get back to me. It's like, that's how they come in sometimes, like, what's that supposed to mean? And then it takes me a little while to like figure it out, but that's the beauty in it, and just try and enjoy as much as you can during this process. Humor, laughter, love, enjoy your family, take time to relax. Like I said, just chill out, enjoy being a human too, because we are, everything's literally, I mean, we're human, we're higher dimensional, it's merging. It is all coming together into one thing. We know this. We've known this all along. We are bringing heaven to earth, and this is how it has to happen. We didn't know how it was going to happen. It's definitely sped up. 2020 has been, I can't believe we're already pretty much in June here. Just like, and how much has happened since the beginning of this year. I mean, think of how much has been released. And especially how I mentioned the riots. Think about all the anger and like I've talked about that built up stuff inside of people that's being released right now. That's a huge purge and release that the masses are doing right now. So we're seeing it collectively. We're seeing this happen around us. And it's just speeding up faster and faster and faster. And I know there was so much talk of this event, right? The grand solar flash, and we're sitting here going, well, when's it going to happen? Come on. We are in it. I mean, I still believe there will be a moment where you just can take that breath and all of a sudden you feel like everything's completely changed. But we're in that buildup. It's that buildup until we hit that pinnacle moment. That's how I feel. Or it could just be we are literally in the event, and I know it's going to be very subtle too, but I do believe there will be like that pinnacle moment when we've reached just the tip of the pyramid there, and it's like, we did it. All right, cleared, done, let's go. And then we move into this beautiful golden age, and I'm going to hold on to that. People can think we're delusional for believing that, or thinking there's no way heaven can be on earth. And I've always said anything is possible. And people have said to me, God, you're so gullible. Like they'll say things and I'm like, really? And when they say I'm gullible, I'm always like, is it so wrong to believe anything's possible? I've always been that way. I'm super open-minded to anything, as I'm sure a lot of you are, because once again, there's a specific reason for that. Open-minded to the idea, the truth that heaven is manifesting here on earth. That's our mission. So that's what I hold on to. All right, guys, I'm going to get going. I love you all. Thank you so much for your support, your comments. I love your feedback. I love reading everything you're going through. And yeah, I will be back soon. All right, bye.